Okay, so I'm really tired. I'm really bad about talking about the information I've gathered. It's really hard for me to put it all together verbally. But I just wanted to make a quick video. I'm in the process of moving, so I haven't had time to sit and make a video. And once I get into the new house, I'm not going to have internet, and I don't know how long, probably for about a week, maybe more. It depends on my budget. And so I wanted to go ahead and put this out, because I've been thinking about some of these things for a while now. I wanted to talk more about Rh negative bloodlines. I'm A negative, and I have Cherokee Indian. I also have Blackfoot Indian somewhere. That's just what my mom has told me, but I know for a fact I have Cherokee Indian blood in me. I'm from Georgia, which the Cherokees say that they started in Georgia and migrated to North Carolina, and I lived in Georgia half my life, and then I lived in North Carolina for the other half of my life. Grew up near Atlanta, and then moved to North Carolina when I was 13 or 14, right next to Cherokee, and had a rock shop with my dad and stuff. But so I found out that Cherokee have a high amount of Rh negative blood, and geneticists have found out that the Cherokee came from the Middle East, from Mesopotamia, the Middle East, Egypt, those areas. So they have the bloodline. The people who did the research, I think, were trying to track Moses' bloodline, and they found that out. So they didn't migrate from Mexico like other Native Americans. Now, if you ask, well, they won't tell just anyone, but there's sacred Cherokee knowledge that they come from the Pleiades. So they've passed down generationally the knowledge to certain people. You know, they point at the stars, they point at the Pleiades star cluster. And I've always had a connection with the Pleiades, and I've heard my brother Joseph also has a connection with the Pleiades. So I think the Rh negative bloodline is connected to the Pleiades. We are a hive mind. We are easily manipulated and controlled. We are easily, they will work on us from the fourth dimension, from the astral realm, dream state, and program us, MK Ultra type stuff, my lab. Things will happen to you in a dream state, and you'll think of it as a dream, but it's not. They're working on you astrally. That is why many super famous people are negative blood, like Britney Spears, George Bush supposedly. There's question as to whether or not the presidents are negative or if they're just claiming to be negative. I don't know. But we do connect through like a hive mind. So I know a lot of Rh negatives almost communicate, they go through the same things and come up with the same kind of epiphanies at the same time, and it's because we are connected. Also, I'm finding that, and I wish I knew a biologist who could confirm this, but I don't know anyone that's not co-opted. And really, I'd have to, I don't know, enroll into college again myself to really trust this, or maybe get testing kits, but which we could probably do. Rh negative is supposed to have higher copper content in our blood versus Rh positive have higher iron content in their blood, and they need iron. I've heard that Rh negatives need more copper, and you've probably heard the term blue bloods from the royalty who have the high copper content Rh negative blood. My cousin is going through nursing school, and I was asking her if she knew anything about it. And she said your blood's not actually blue until it's oxygenated, which doesn't mean when it touches the air, but it turns red after it goes through your lungs with your blue blood. And it gets the oxygen through your lungs. When they draw blood, it's already gone through the lungs. But she didn't know much about it either. She's younger than me. I'm so exhausted. I've been moving and cleaning like crazy. The kids are finally out of the house, and I literally just have a few minutes, and I got to get back to work. What else? Pause it for a second and collect my thoughts. Okay, yeah, so Rh negative people often are abductees, and I think I've had two different types of abductee experiences, and one is negative and the other one is positive, and they're both completely different from another. I think the positive ones where you're taught energetic teachings and healing teachings and how to protect yourself energetically. When you see geometry, when you're taught about the stars, that I think is contact with your star family, which in my case is the Pleiadians. I've been sat down in dreams and been told to study astronomy and been told to study geometry, sacred geometry. So I've been working on sacred geometry now. It took me a few years. I don't know why. I just wasn't ready. And then I still haven't really delved into astronomy because I don't know what to believe and what not to believe. Through science, I think it's all lies, so it's something I'd have to sit down and do on my own, just by looking at the stars and probably using intuition and maybe finding really old information on it, like from Aristotle or something. I don't know, really old information. But even then, they're not gonna publish things in textbooks they want us to know about. It's going to be convoluted and backwards. So okay, so the positive contact experiences are from your star family, and some people consider these aliens or extraterrestrials either higher dimensional beings, which also some people consider as angels. They're just on another frequency, so they're like 5D, 6D, 7D. 4D is still corrupted like 3D. A lot of what goes on in the world leader decisions, war decisions, actually goes on in 4D, and then they materialize it in 3D. Now, the negative abduction experiences I've had are in dream time, and they're not pleasant. It's like you're being studied, and I've also found myself in hospitals at least once as a kid, and was really vulnerable and surrounded by doctors, and they were really invading my privacy and examining me in ways that I was just horrified by and embarrassed by. And I look back on it and wonder if it has something to do with my bloodline. And then other abduction experiences I've had, the negative ones are more mechanical. You're not learning, and it's not energetic. You're like an actual nuts and bolts spaceship, which I think is just like a screen imprint memory that they put on you while they're working on you on the astral realm. I've been studied my whole life astrally, and I've been put up against other people, other children, like Hunger Games like style. And I have one vivid memory of just like fighting for my life, and everybody, it was just, you know, one last person standing is the one that survives. And I remember ripping an arrow out of this girl's hand and stabbing her with it in the dream. And I distinctly remember the sensation of it going through the skin and then through the tissues inside, and it was like if you would stab someone with an ink pen. And why would I be able to feel that sensation so vividly? They'll pin you up against other people your age. They'll study you. They will traumatize you in dream time, and you'll be stuck. I don't know how they gather the information, and this is all intuitive that I'm gathering this, but also I have some really weird connections in my family. My dad's side of the family was generational child abuse down through each generation, and they were severely abused. And the men in the family were Masons, and my dad, from what I know, was not a Mason, and he was kind of like the kink in the chain, and he was very loving and very supportive of me, and but he was very, very, very protective of me, and he was almost paranoid that at any time I would be kidnapped. He always like kept a really close eye on me, and just he was like really strong and really protective, and he would teach me how to defend myself, and I know from a really early age kind of how to one-hit kill in different ways in case someone was trying to take me. He taught me these things. And he always had all this war memorabilia, and he swore he was hold on. I heard someone here. He swore he was never in the war. He swore he was never in the military. But you know how military people hold themselves with the posture and the way they hold their hands behind their back. And he would often, we always lived near forests, and he could just like squat in the forest for hours in the dark, and he would talk about booby traps and punji pits, and all his DVDs were like Platoon, Apocalypse Now, Hamburger Hill, Jacob's Ladder, Full Metal Jacket. They were all like Vietnam movies, and he had like Vietnam jackets and Vietnam camp pads and helmets and patches. He had 101st Airborne patch, but he also had a Ranger patch, and I don't think those are the same thing, so I don't know what's going on there. But on his death certificate, it says he was in the military, and my whole family says he wasn't, but why would it say on the death certificate? And I keep asking my mom for a copy of his death certificate, and she always says she'll look at it when she gets a chance, and then never does. So I don't know. She lives pretty far. And I moved out. They got a divorce, and I moved out from her house and lived with him. And when he passed away, I inherited the shop, and I also inherited a Masonic Bible, and he always told me I wasn't supposed to have it. And it had, I've seen them on eBay, so they must not be too secretive. I mean, if you can buy them on eBay, it was like a copy from like 1950, but they're insane. If you can get your hands on a copy, if you can afford to buy one. Mine was stolen from me. I had someone I think that was put into my life. He came into my life right after my dad died, and I had my first child with him, and I was controlled by him and manipulated by him and abused by him, and he slowly cut me off from everybody, and would bring substances to me, and eventually I developed an addiction problem, which many MK Ultra children have to depend on opiates and other addictions to kind of help block out the trauma that was done to them, which I got past my addiction on my own, and I got rid of him, but he stole all of my photographs, anything, like all my photographs of my father, the Bible I inherited from him, the Masonic Bible. I do have one of his Bibles with his name on it. But he stole artwork that I had made, and just made a mess of things. But I'm over it, and it's whatever. So I really wish I knew more about my dad. I wish I could sit down with him, because he knew a lot about certain things, like technology that the government had and their ability to surveillance people. And I just kind of thought he was like crazy or something. But when I found out he, was in the military, I wonder. And his family was Masonic. Also, my mother's side of the family, which is where I get the Rh negative blood, which comes from my grandmother. My dad and my mom both have, from what I know, they had Rh positive blood. But I wonder if my dad had Rh negative. I don't know his blood type. But my aunt, his sister, claims that I must have gotten the Rh negative from my mom's side. Sorry, I'm so tired. I'm like shaky. Okay, I grew up close to Atlanta, and my grandfather and my grandmother worked for the CDC. My grandfather was a biochemist, he was a microbiologist, and he worked there for many, many years. They both did. They both retired through the CDC and worked with the CDC their whole life. And he also did work with the Air Force, and he also has ham radio and does like weather. I don't know. He like a bunch of old men that have the ham radio do this supposed like hobby where they report the weather to each other, and it gets sent to I don't know, the radar or something. And I don't know why they're still doing it now, because the technology, but I mean, maybe that's just what I was told. But he had this big, huge antenna, and he has one at his house now, which is not in Atlanta anymore. They live on a lake. And he always had the ham radio and was on it and used it every day. And then, but with all and he was a Mason. And I used to take his Mason ring. It had a secret compartment. And when I opened it, he saw me, he got mad and took it back. He also was a city councilman for the city of Doraville, which is a big city right outside of Atlanta, and knew the mayor. And I don't know why I was always being brought to town hall in Doraville when I was really young. Like, I was always over there. He would drop me off and leave me, and I don't remember. I remember the secretaries would like give me candy, and I would like sit in the mayor's office, and like I remember watching people come in and out of the town hall. He had a giant wall that was like a two-way mirror. Is it called a two-way mirror or one-way mirror? The mirror where you can see through it, but they just see the reflections. I remember that, and that was really fun. But now that I'm older and I look back on that, I just think it's fucking weird. Why was I being dropped off at the town hall next to Atlanta all the time. And every year also I'd get to go to Tybee Island with all the other families and kids that were related to the work, the like city, the high up city politicians. And we would just get like a free ride, free condo, free food, private beach. And then I never thought anything of that. But, you know, as I get older, I look back and realize how fishy all these things are. But back to RH negative. And I'm not a doctor, so don't take my advice, but maybe research into this, because apparently RH negative people need more copper. And iron might affect us in bad ways. And I recently tried out a new birth control, and it was making me really, really ill. I finally quit it, but the first day I took it, I felt like I was going to pass out all day. I had to leave work early, just literally on the verge of blacking out all day. And I found out that that particular birth control is like, has iron in it. It's called Junel, and it's like some sort of hormone with iron. And not only that, it started to make me, this is like probably too much information if you're a guy, but it just made me start bleeding, and it wouldn't stop, like I was on my period, and wouldn't stop. And then I was like getting really mad all the time, just like I had no patience, and I was just like so mean and so pissed off. And I finally was like, fuck this, and I decided it wasn't worth it. And my partner was like, it's not worth it, just stop. And so I stopped taking it. And it's been a week or two. I already feel better. But I was looking into other types of birth control, and one is like which they all fucking freak me out. And I hate pharmaceutical companies. I don't trust any of them, but at the same time, I don't want any more kids. If I was rich, I wouldn't care, but I don't make any money. And so this other type I was looking into, especially now what I found out about the blood types and Rh negative need more copper. There's one that is like implanted, and it's just made of copper. And that's it. There's no hormones and there's no chemicals. So I'll find out more information on whether or not it is true that we are copper based and we need more copper. I might look into that. Also about Rh negative blood, we have explosive energy. So we have big bursts of high energy, whether it be physical, like as an analogy, we could like sprint, but we wouldn't want to be long distance runners. We have these high bursts of energy, or it could be like emotional, or it could be like social, like, oh, you're like very outgoing, and then, but then after we get this burst, we have to kind of like back out, back away, get in a quiet space, and kind of like recuperate. So we're not really high endurance. We're more of a big burst and then pull back and like get quiet in a dark spot, rejuvenate, center yourself again, and then you recharge and you can do another big burst. Whereas like O positive people can just like, they have the endurance, they can go. So I'm trying to think of anything else. I guess I'm gonna wrap it up. I'll try and think about what I said and maybe rewatch the video. And if I forgot anything, I will make another video after my internet gets turned on. But I just wanted to get this out there real quick while I had a chance, or while I had the house to myself, and also take a break from all this cleaning. So yeah, sorry if I shared a little too much. And also, I'm not a doctor, and also this is for entertainment purposes only, not crazy. Don't lock me up. So, oh yeah, and one more thing. Anybody that is being drawn to see this, anybody that is being drawn to this video, who sits through it, who has watched my other videos, and who are watching other similar videos, the reason why you're watching it is because you are almost 100%, you are very likely to be a part of our family, and we all have lived with each other before, and we had a purpose before and a spiritual mission, and we have a spiritual mission now, and that is why you are being drawn to this. And there are things that I will say that will activate codes and information within you, and it will trigger you to do kind of what you need to do. And we all have our own part, but we are all drawn together, and we know there's a purpose. So, yes, hopefully I helped trigger something in you. So, signing off. I will talk to you later.